The mummified body of a sabre-toothed cat has just been discovered in Siberia. This animal died some 35 to 37,000 years ago and became entombed in ice, remaining perfectly preserved for all these years. The body is that of a sabre-toothed cat called Homotherium, a very widespread prehistoric cat that lived from around 4 million years ago to just 12,000 years ago and has been discovered as fossils in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. If you would like to learn more about this incredible species, we've actually done a video on the first Homotherium remains ever found, which were uncovered in Kent's Cavern here in the UK over on the Ben G. Thomas channel. The link to the video will be in the description. This mummified Homotherium is the first time that we've seen the face of a saber-toothed cat, and it's absolutely unbelievable. This individual is a cub, estimated to have been about 3 weeks old when it died. It still has its coat of fur and intact ears, and you can even see its little toe beans on the underside of its front paws. Just want to squish them. Just looking at how cute this cub is, and given the fact that our own species coexisted with Homotherium for a long time, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that many a prehistoric human perished trying to pet one of these cats. That would absolutely be me. Have you seen me when I see a dog on the street? I go feral. The cub was first uncovered in 2020 along a river in Siberia where the remains of other Ice Age animals have been found before, such as woolly mammoths. The mummy preserves the front part of the body with an intact head and forelimbs, plus the first 6 pairs of ribs and the corresponding vertebrae. The mummy, as preserved, measures about 25 centimeters long or 9.8 inches from the tip of the nose to where the body stops. This part of the cub is similar in size to a 3-week-old lion cub used as comparison, so it was still very young when it died. The body is absolutely covered in dense, thick hair that's dark brown in colour. This shaggy coat of fur would have kept it nice and warm in the high latitude regions, and the scientists describe the fur as soft. And now I really want to pet a Homotherium kitten. This mummy is so well preserved that you can even see the whiskers of this little cub. 2 rows of whiskers are visible on the upper lip, though they have been broken off so aren't preserved at their full length. Very interestingly, the scientists also mention how the corners of the mouth have significantly longer hairs around them. Unfortunately, the eyes of the cub have not been preserved, and neither have the eyelashes. The ears on the mummy are very well preserved though. They look like low semicircular arches that only slightly protrude past the contour of the head when viewed from the side. Whereas in the lion cub used for comparison, the ears protrude quite a lot. The smaller and lower shape of the ears would have helped in reducing the head's surface area, an adaptation allowing the animal to better retain heat in cold climates. The ears of the Homotherium are also positioned a little higher up on the skull, with the lowest point of the ears being in line with the upper teeth, while in the lion cub it's more in line with the teeth of the lower jaw. So already this amazing specimen is informing us about soft tissue features that should be noted for future reconstructions of this saber-toothed species. Homotherium is also known as the scimitar-toothed cat, as its fearsome canines were relatively shorter than other similarly sized saber-toothed cats, but they had more coarse serrations along them. Since this mummified individual was only around 3 weeks old at the time of death, these famous killing fangs had not yet developed. However, something else the researchers noted with this specimen is that the height of the upper lip was more than twice that of the lion cub. They explain this is because as the animal grew, the upper canines would in turn grow proportionally much larger, and therefore this extended lip would have kept them covered. There's actually been some discussion in recent years over whether some saber-toothed cat species would have concealed their infamous sabers behind soft tissues such as gums and lips, rather than having them exposed even when the mouth is closed as they are usually depicted. Research published in 2022 looked at evidence from fossil skulls as well as living big cats and proposed that Homotherium would indeed have concealed their sabers, with the teeth slotting on either side of the lower jaw and being hidden by the lower lips when the mouth was shut. However, other species such as Smilodon, the most famous of the saber-toothed cats, had teeth that were still too large to be completely covered by soft tissues, so they were likely always exposed. The preserved lips of this mummified cub therefore do seem to be consistent with this interpretation of Homotherium life appearance, hiding their killer teeth behind extended lips. Now we just need to find an adult one to see if the fully grown sabers remained concealed. The soft tissues of the paws also reveal some remarkable details about this species. The feet are noticeably rounded in overall shape compared to the lion cubs, being almost as wide as they are long, while the lion's feet are very narrow. The paw pads, or toe beans as they should really be called, are also quite different shapes in Homotherium compared to the lion. The front pads are almost square in shape rather than oval, while the big central pad has two lobes and is more of a bean shape than in the lion. It also lacks a carpal pad further back on the paw. The width of the paws and the shapes of the toe beans all seem to be adaptations for walking in snow, another sign that this cat was living in cold climates. The little claws of this Homotherium cub are also preserved, and they look similarly shaped to the lion. In addition, the mummy's neck is longer and more than twice as thick as that of the lion cub, with a remarkably large volume of muscles. Overall then, it seems Homotherium had a lengthier and more massive neck than a lion. The remains of the cub are different to the lion in other ways too, and that's to be expected given Homotherium's evolutionary relationships. Homotherium is actually part of the subfamily Machaerodontidae. While at first Homotherium appears superficially similar to other saber-toothed cats such as Smilodon and other big cats in general, they are actually quite different in many aspects. Analysis of mitochondrial DNA retrieved from the bones of both Homotherium and Smilodon shows they diverged from one another 18 million years ago, meaning that they are actually not as closely related as one would assume. In addition to the incredible preservation of soft tissue, the researchers were also able to study the internal skeleton of this cub by CT scanning the body. The skull anatomy is very typical of a Homotherium specimen, which is how these researchers could identify it, by comparing it to other fossil specimens. It has a pronounced mandibular flange on the underside of the lower jaw, short and low coronoid processes at the back of the lower jaws, a deep symphysis region where the paired mandibles meet, and the incisors are quite elevated relative to the cheek teeth row, all very characteristic features of Homotherium. Looking closely at this bone anatomy, there are many contrasting differences between this species and the modern lion cub too. Noticeably the size and position of the incisors, the comparably widened nasal bones, and a swollen brain case with a much larger volume than that of the lion cub. This find is significant for a number of reasons, including the fact that this is the first time in the history of paleontology that the appearance of an extinct mammal with no modern analogues living today has been able to be studied from a frozen specimen. Other frozen mummies of prehistoric big cats have been discovered previously, such as nearly 30,000-year-old cave lion cubs also uncovered in Siberia a few years ago. But this is the first time a representative of an entirely extinct cat lineage has been found as a mummy. It is also the first instance of Homotherium in Russia ever. This little cub is the second only evidence of the presence of this species at this point in the late Pleistocene epoch of Eurasia. The discovery has spread the known range of this incredible species, providing incredible implications for further research and understanding of this elusive cat. So it closes a significant gap in the fossil record for this species. This find by itself is exciting enough, and the fact that more frozen specimens of long extinct species such as this are being uncovered from Siberian permafrost raises the possibility that other iconic dead species could be found like this too. Perhaps it's just a matter of time before other species of saber-toothed cats are discovered, maybe even adult ones, showing their immense saber teeth. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll even find the frozen remains of an extinct human species. Uncovering the body of a mummified Neanderthal might just be the greatest paleontological discovery of all time. The researchers explain in the paper that this is only an initial brief description of some of the mummy's most interesting features, and that another, more detailed study will be published at some point. We'll definitely be covering that in the science news whenever it comes out, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you don't want to miss it. I hope you've enjoyed this 7 Days of Science special feature. This discovery was absolutely mind-blowing and just too exciting to wait until the next episode to cover, so we thought we'd make this dedicated video covering it. Let us know if you enjoyed it, and if you'd like to see more 7DOS special features in future whenever there's a particularly exciting new scientific discovery. Thank you for watching!